Hi, my name is Marcia Denton, and I'm the owner of Mima Wisdom Coaching. And today we're talking about accepting advice. This month we're talking about things we need to consider and think about before we just accept them into our lives. Today we're talking about things we need to consider and think about before we accept advice into our lives. Last time we talked about people we should reach out to when we're vulnerable. Who are those people? What are the characteristics that we're looking for? But even people who love us can be wrong. They can be wrong with the greatest heart toward us, but they can be wrong. And so today we want to talk about how do we know what advice we accept and what advice we don't accept. Be careful when you ask for people's advice. You want to think carefully about, and this goes back to our last episode, you want to be careful and think about the people that you solicit advice from, because everybody's got free advice. But when you reach out to somebody, you want to go back and look at that previous episode and make sure you're reaching out to the right people. You also get to say, I'll consider this and I'll look at how it impacts my life and how appropriate it'll be for me. You get that. In fact, not only do you get that, I'm going to suggest that you have to take that. You don't have to, just because somebody loves you, accept what they say in this moment and apply it to your life immediately. Most of us don't have that problem with immediately applying it. We have to think about it. We have to figure out how we apply it. But my point here is you want to think about what they've said before you start implementing it and before you start putting it into practice. Because parts of it could really resonate with you, right? They could really be like, oh my God, I've never even thought about it that way. Of course. Why don't I know that about myself? And parts of it may not be correct. So you have to filter that. You have to reflect on it and make sure that you're accepting the advice and implementing and working with the advice that's really going to help you get to where you need to be. And just because you ask for advice doesn't mean you have to take it. I ask for feedback. That was a previous episode, and I regularly ask people for feedback. But just because they give it to me doesn't mean I have to use it. I need to take it. I need to reflect on it. I need to think about it. I need to understand their perception that caused them to tell me that. But I have to make the decision it's right for my life or not. Here's the trap you don't want to fall into. You don't want to fall into the trap of immediately changing something just because somebody that you love and that loves you told you that. That's usually not the problem we have. Typically, the problem we have is we never do anything with it. We think about it. We know it's probably right. I probably do need to do that. I probably need to quit reaching out to these people and asking them for advice because they're not the people I want to be like. They're not the people I want to think like. They don't live their life like I want to live mine. I'm a person of faith, and one of the things I heard years and years ago was, why do you always get on the phone and call somebody else? Why isn't your first act when you need help? Why isn't your first act to go to God? For me, that was really impactful because I was regularly on the phone calling somebody, but they don't know me the way I need to be known in those moments. And so that's been a really powerful thing in my life. But there are still times when I have dear friends around me and I need to reach out and say, what do you think? Starting Mima Wisdom Coaching was a big deal. And I reached out to different friends of mine from different realms of life and said, what do you think? And are you willing to support me as I go down this path? Because I'm going to need you to hold me accountable and keep me on track with the goals that I've set out here for this business. And they have, and I am grateful for their support and their wisdom. Mima Wisdom Coaching is here to help. There's a link to access us and get in touch with us that's in the post. We look forward to hearing from you.